found Reddit's craziest dad. Welcome to another Reading Reddit video. If you're new here, my name is Sarby. I've made over 160 Reading Reddit videos for you that I record live with my audience on Twitch so that you guys can share your opinions and be put in the videos. Today we got a juicy best of Redditor updates video, starting it off with me with my ex-girlfriend. She has super conservative parents. We broke up a long time ago, but her parents just found out we had sex and her dad just messaged me. What should I do? And you guys will never believe how unbelievably ridiculous this dad gets. But stick around, we got 3 more absolutely insane updated stories for you guys, such as I tested positive for an STD and I can't find any evidence of husband cheating. As well as the story we're gonna end the video on, I told the doctor my mom was lying about my symptoms. Juicy stories today, guys. Y'all already know the drill. Let's lock in here and read some Reddit. Me with my ex-girlfriend. She has super conservative parents. We broke up a long time ago, but her parents just found out we had sex and her dad just messaged me. What should I do? Original post September 7th, 2016. I met Megan last summer and we began dating. We were both virgins at the time. I had messed around with other girls before, but never had actually gone all the way before. She basically saw it as I had already lost my virginity though. She has really conservative parents, as do I, who believe that you should hold off until marriage to have sex, etc. Well, long story short, after dating for a while, we began having sex. We always had protection and were careful. I just want to stress the fact that she was 18 at the time we started dating and she turned 19 while we dated. Although because she was held back a year, she was still a senior in high school while I was already in college. What's the age gap? Okay. How did they meet? I met Megan last summer. Okay. I don't know. I'm a little bit more on the wave of like, unless you guys were already dating in high school, just stay in your lane and date people in college. But it's not terrible by any means. It's a little like, what are we doing? But whatever. While we dated, her dad once asked me if I had ever had sex before and I lied and told him no. Oh God, that is such an uncomfortable question. From a conservative dad too? Is it bad, y'all, that I feel like it'd be funny if he was just like, yeah, I fuck? No, but that is pretty inappropriate to ask a very young adult, I feel like. Me personally, I think I would have been like, yo, dog, like, I'm not gonna tell you that. That's weird. She had told me to lie for us, so I did, and he knew where my parents worked. And I guess call me paranoid, but they have a history of doing rash decisions, so I didn't want there to be a chance where they would try to reach out to my parents and tell them what I had done. We broke up in February because the relationship wasn't working. We were fighting a lot and we decided to split ways. It wasn't exactly amicable, but we have talked a handful of times since and have been civil. I've tried to push that whole relationship out of my life since and move on. So on to the problem at hand. She texted me today out of the blue telling me if anyone from her family contacts me to not tell them anything or answer anything. I asked her why. And she told me she told her sister she wasn't a virgin anymore and that she had sex with me and one other guy after we broke up. Her sister told her parents, so she wanted to warn me before they reached out to me. Wow. L's sister, bro. What a fucking snitch. That's crazy, bro. Chat, this might be a bad thing for me to say, but I feel like you should have sibling relationships where like y'all are keeping secrets from your parents. Listen, I could never talk about sex with my mom or my dad comfortably. I can talk about that shit with my siblings. And to this day, my siblings have never snitched on me like that. That builds the bond tight, bro. I'm ride or die for my siblings, and I feel like that's how it should be for all siblings. So this makes me incredibly sad. Like, I'm pissed for OP's ex that her sister is this much of an asshole. I didn't really think anyone would bother contacting me, so I shrugged it off and told her whatever and left it at that. Now her dad just sent me a message on Facebook telling me he needs to speak with me when I have a chance. I haven't opened up the message as to not show the red part, but I saw the little notification on my phone. Yes, I do realize that I'm 21, and if he tells my parents, it shouldn't matter because I'm on my own and they don't really have a say in my life anymore, which they don't, but they believe about waiting till marriage for sex for religious reasons. And if they found out I had sex, it would really hurt them and most definitely make a rift in our relationship. I've already had a rocky relationship with them and I don't want to make it worse. My question is, what should I do? Should I ignore the dad? What if he contacts my parents and tells them? Should I tell him anything? I don't want to argue whether I should care if my parents found out or about religious morals. Just about the situation with my ex's parents. I really appreciate any advice and support you guys can offer. I think he should not give a fuck whether or not his parents find out, but he just wants to know how to like diffuse this situation as best as possible. I don't know, man. I think it's just such an overstep of this dad. You should, in theory, just tell him to fuck off. But I actually think if the objective is to not get this guy to call your parents, which by the way, is just such a beta bitch move, bro. Oh, wee woo dog, your daughter decided to have sex with someone as normal human beings do. And you want to talk to the guy that like your daughter with consent chose to have sex with? Like, bro, stay in your lane. If you're gonna be a fucking asshole, don't do it to the guy that's like not even dating your daughter anymore. It's just an overstep to me. I don't know, man. I do think if OP wants to avoid the parents getting contacted, he actually should hop on a call with this guy, because if you don't hop on a call with him, it's just gonna give him a reason to call your parents. So do I think that's the right answer? Absolutely not. Do I think you should do it? No. But if your objective is just give this guy the smallest reason to call my parents, I think the answer is to talk to him. Religious people are so weird. Sometimes everything needs boundaries, and you should not care if your adult child is having sex, consensual sex. Exactly. And two, if your child is having consensual sex and you have a problem with it, don't take it out on the dude that she was dating. That's just overstepping. If you want to try to tell your kid how to live, I guess that's your right as their parent. Do I think that's smart? No. Do I think you have a good argument? Absolutely not. But like, if some rando came up to me trying to tell me how to live my life, I'd be like, you're fucking ridiculous. Who are you to tell me how to live my life? Hot take, y'all, but like people who preach don't have sex till you get married are setting people up to be in loveless marriages. Because A, they're getting married just for the sake of being able to have sex, and B, I do think sexual compatibility is very important. Update. I decided not to answer him and just wait it out. She texted me again telling me she was sorry, but she came clean to her dad and she hopes everything works out and he doesn't take measures. I don't know what that means. Frankly, I don't really care. This dude does not sound like a mentally stable person. Like, the only thing I might be worried about is homeboy showing up with a gun or something. I agree that this is between him and her, and we've been broken up for a while. There's no reason why he should be looking to me for an explanation. She texted me and told me not to ignore her dad because he has my parents' phone number and will call them if he has to. I talked to my roommate and a few of my friends that live near my apartment, and they advised me to message him back, but feel out the conversation, not admit to anything, and not justify anything. It is what it is, and it happened. I honestly don't see what he gets out of talking to me or lecturing me or whatever he wants to do. I do hope he doesn't call my parents, because that would be a real dick thing of him to do for literally no reason at all. Ugh, this whole thing is such a headache that I thought was supposed to be over with. I appreciate all the input, and I will update once I can / have something to update with. That update was on the original post, and there's a second update, so I kind of want to read that one too. Update 2, I woke up this morning and my dad called me. I feared the worst, but he only needed like basic tech support for his computer, and that was all he wanted. I felt relieved and went through my day. A little while ago, my sister calls me and asks me what my ex's dad's name is. I tell her, and she tells me that he called dad and left a voicemail saying he was going to try and call again today. Most of my family was there and I was on speakerphone, so they asked if I knew anything, and I told them I wouldn't know why my ex's family would try to contact them after us being broken up for such a long time. My dad said it was odd and he would wait for the call and see what was up. He figures her dad just wants advice on something, so he would let me know what it's all about. First off, fucking ridiculous. Let's just say that. That's insane. Second, I think this is a good time to get ahead of what's basically inevitable at this point. If he's already calling the household, you just gotta be like, yeah, I fucked. Your boy fucks. I laid pipe, dad. That's just how it be. You don't have to worry about me being an incel. At this point, it's gonna be worse if it comes from this dad. Like, at this point, I think you just gotta take it to the chest, dog. You dated a girl whose parents and, honestly, let's be honest, family could still fuck that sister for snitching. The whole family's fucked in the head, dog. This is just the repercussions of your actions, I guess. I called my sister shortly after and told her why he was calling, and her response was literally bursting out in laughter. She thinks it's really weird for him to do this because he gains nothing from calling us. My ex is obviously not pregnant, and we both don't think he would try to pull the consent card, so he figured he just wants to tell on me, basically. And that would be that. Yeah, why the fuck is this dad like a kindergartner? I'm gonna tell on you to your parents. Like, bro, shut the actual fuck up. My sister and my dad are hanging out all day today, and she told me not to worry about it and it will be okay. She will be texting me and let me know, or give a heads up if anything happens. As soon as I get a response, I will let you guys know. W sister chat. This is how a sibling should be, dog. Like, if my sister called me about some shit like this, I would be laughing my ass off. Final update, October 6th, 2016, 1 month later. So I wanted to wait until after the weekend to post the update because a lot happened, and oh man, it's a pretty good update that most of you will enjoy. So her dad called my dad and was very emotional and pretty pissed off that I lied to him, in the sense that I not only told him I hadn't slept with her, but didn't plan on it. In parentheses, what else are you supposed to say? No, for real. Did bro just expect him to drink his honesty juice that morning? Like, you're in your early 20s and their conservative dad accosts you on if you're gonna have sex with them. You're not gonna be like, yeah, bro, I'm gonna fucking tap that. That's so brain dead. What do you mean? I feel like this is such a stupid, like, parent thing. If your 18-year-old is getting in a relationship, surprise, dog, you should probably expect that they're gonna have sex. It's just inevitable. Yes, I plan on going hard in the paint. That would have been such an insane answer. Can y'all imagine? Excuse me, Sonny. You planning on having sex with my daughter? Yeah, dog. I'm about to go hard in the paint in that pussy. Like, what? I'm so sorry. That'd be so funny. That would be incredible. In parentheses, what else are you supposed to say? Yes, I plan on going hard on the paint. What the fuck? My dad was pretty taken aback and didn't really know what to say. Her dad continued on saying how he wanted to let my parents know what a man whore I was. You know what? I applaud that, actually. Only good thing this conservative dad has said. Normalize calling men whores, and how I took his daughter's virginity and that it needed to be fixed? What, bro? You want OP to go in there with like fucking wrench and a screwdriver and re-virginize her? The fuck are you talking about, dog? How do you fix a virginity? My dad just told him he was sorry. He was disappointed in me and he would handle it. He talked to him some more and calmed him down and then hung up and blocked his number. My dad called me and told me what had happened. In parentheses, I did not give him a heads up. He was pretty calm about it. For a bit, he thought the guy wanted money or something, but when he realized he basically just wanted to tattle, he just left it at that. My mom, on the other hand, called me shortly after and flipped out on me about how I could have gotten her pregnant. And did I even think about what would happen if she got pregnant? Or if I got an STD? And a whole bunch of other things. Basically, a fun time. I went home this past weekend to pick up something from my parents' house I needed for my apartment. In parentheses, something that was mine, just couldn't take it with me the first time because it didn't fit in the car. So it was a pretty awkward weekend. I did see my sister. She made so many jokes about how one would go fixing a situation like this as how my ex's dad wanted to. Because, you know, virginities are basically sold and given and whatnot. But yeah, that's the update. All is well for now. Many awkwards were had, and relationship with parents is much strained. Smiley face. I think in this day and age, it's just so unrealistic for you to expect your child to actually wait to have sex. If you're a parent walking around like my kid would never, and my kid should never, it's just so stupid, unrealistic, dumb. And honestly, I genuinely think it's a danger to your child. His parents sounded fine with it. I mean, the mom was clearly not fine with it, Elster Stairs. The mom was pissed. But I still think OP should have told the parents himself, like, he knew this was coming. Giving the dad a heads up might have made that phone call a little less awkward for him, you know? I tested positive for an STD and I can't find any evidence of my husband cheating. We have a 28 female OP and a 29 male husband. Originally posted to r/relationship advice on July 18th, 2025. Background, my husband and I are high school sweethearts. We have been together since 2012 and have been married for 6 years, and we have a 2-year-old. Timeline. January, I got off birth control so we could get pregnant. This was a mutual decision. February, got a severe UTI, got treated and symptoms improved. Doctor's office cultured my urine and confirmed the antibiotics would treat it. March, got another severe UTI. I visited the same doctor's office and they said it probably hadn't cleared up and gave me the same antibiotics. May, had my yearly OBGYN appointment and mentioned that I had a bad UTI previously. OB said to come back to her if it came back. Well, it came back, but they didn't have nurses doing urine analysis that week. In parentheses, I don't know why. So she prescribed me a different type of antibiotic and said to come in if I had any issues. June, get a severe UTI again. Go to the doctor, they do a urine analysis and cultured it, but nothing grew. I was referred to a urogyno doctor. I go to the urogyno and my urine culture comes back normal. After speaking with my mom, she suggests going back to the OBGYN to get tested for STDs. At this point, I'm desperate to get any answers. And then Monday, the 14th of July, got a panel done, and I found out on the 17th of July, I tested negative for everything but trick. I have been faithful to my husband, and the thought of cheating on him is repulsive. What is trick? I actually don't know what this is. Trichomoniasis, often called trick, is a common sexually transmitted infection caused by a parasite called... I'm not even gonna try to read that. It's curable with antibiotics, but reinfection is possible if sexual partners aren't also treated. Wow, you learned something new from reading Reddit, I guess. Here's the confusing part. I confronted him, and he is persistently saying he has never cheated on me. I kept calling him a liar and pushed him to tell me who it was. I kept reminding him that I have an STD, only transmitted by sexual acts, and that I've been faithful. I went through his phone, I checked all of his apps, previously downloaded and currently downloaded. Nothing. I went through his Facebook Messenger. Nothing. I went through his Snapchat. Nothing. I went through his Instagram messages. Nothing. I went through his call logs. Nothing. I went through his car. Nothing. I went through his credit card statements. Nothing. He gave me his phone and said he would do anything to prove he hasn't been unfaithful. I'm completely stumped. We share our locations, and his significant locations. There was nothing suspicious. Now what? That's a pickle. I kind of want to look at the relevant comments on this before I go to the update, because I don't know, chat. As much as STDs are traditionally transmitted through sex, you can get STDs not just from sex. It's the exposure to it. You can get it from contact with blood and other bodily fluids. So I don't really know. Trick isn't only transmitted by sex. You can get it from towels. It's a parasite. Wow, that's actually fucking scary though. Don't get me wrong, y'all. The husband could easily be cheating, but his reaction to being like, hey, here's my phone, I haven't cheated on you, I'll do anything to prove that I haven't been, and like OP has found nothing suspicious. Like, nobody is that good, and if they are that good, you're like not even human. Like, there has to be a mistake somewhere. Cheaters don't usually freely lay their life open for you to peruse. Exactly. If you are truly cheating, there's no way you're good enough that there's no credit card statements, significant locations, like all that stuff. There's no way you're that good where you can hide every single aspect. Bro, are you serious? Can you get STDs from swimming pools? That's scary. I want to look at these relevant comments, chat, before we get into the update. First one, you need a post in a medical sub. Trick can be asymptomatic in men and women for years. Oh, interesting. Didn't know that was a thing. Okay, that would be an explanation. Another commenter said, although not very common, it is possible that you guys have had Trick for years and not have shown any symptoms. Since you stopped using birth control, your pH changed, and this may have triggered the outbreak of symptoms now. In any case, make sure both you and your partner get fully treated. Another commenter said, do either of you go to the gym? It can be transmitted via non-sexual means, damp objects being the primary cause of this type of transmission. Did either of you use a gym towel that wasn't washed properly, or sat on a machine with a damp seat while wearing very thin clothing, or sat on the bench in the locker rooms, etc.? Have either of you ever tried on a bathing suit without keeping your own underwear on, or wore a new suit without washing it first? Another commenter said, I had an STI test recently and it came back positive with Trick. Had never been tested for this before because it's not on the regular tests. I've never had symptoms, and the doctor said I could have had it for years. Apparently around 80% of people don't have any symptoms. Also heard there's rare cases it can be transmitted by sitting on towels, etc. Ask him to get tested too. Also check your levels. The closer it is to 38, the less contagious. Hope it all works out for the best for you. OP does have a comment here saying he is going to go today to the doctor to get tested. What are the odds of it being transmitted non-sexually? He deals with people's dirty clothes, restaurant towels / aprons, floor mats, bathroom soap dispensers, toilet paper dispensers, etc. Another commenter said, I'm a high school teacher and I'm not the only one who contracted Trick from the bathrooms at my school. That's how we found out multiple teams were meeting in the bathrooms to hook up all at once. Well, that's a fucking crazy high school. Oh my God. And then OP replied to that, what the fuck, I'm a high school teacher. Okay, so before we get into the final update, there is an update on the same post, but it does sound like there are reasonable explanations here that don't end in your husband was cheating on you. Friday, I called my OB's office and asked if there was any other way I could have gotten it, and the nurse told me no, it's only transmitted sexually. I then asked her when the last time I was tested for STDs, and she told me in December of 2022, and I was negative for everything. I did not have anything. Because of this conversation, I assumed she knew I was talking about Trick because I asked about it before I asked for my labs. Also, why would she not tell me Trick wasn't included if that's what we were discussing beforehand? Later Friday, we called my aunt, who is a nurse that works in the same hospital, and asked her, and she said she didn't think Trick was tested for in pregnancy. She had to manually pull up my labs from 2023 and found Trick was not tested for. Friday afternoon, we also both got tested again for it and expect labs to be done Monday/Tuesday. I don't think my husband has cheated, and I have not cheated. I also let him go through my phone/cards, etc., because that's only fair. I have apologized to him for jumping his shit. I also have to look at it from his side as well. He knows he hasn't been unfaithful, and then I all of a sudden have an STD. We are going to start couples therapy soon, and we are also going to bring my child to the pediatrician to get tested for Trick, as we have taken many baths together. If you would have asked me any day before Thursday if my husband would cheat on me, I would tell you 100% no, without a doubt. We are solid. Bro, that's crazy. I feel like this nurse has to be a dumbass, right? Because there's too many people in the comments and in chat saying that you can get tricked from more than just sex. I don't know. I don't want to Google it, but it seems like the nurse is just wrong here. We do have a final update, July 21st, 2025, 3 days after the initial post. We both went and got our urine tested Friday, and we both tested negative for Trick. We are still going to get rechecked with urine, swab, and blood to be sure we don't have it. Wait, so now you guys are testing negative for an STD? Was this all just a bamboozle? Wait, but also, why were you getting UTIs so much then? I am confusion. So what? Moral of the story, if you test positive for an STD while you're married or in a relationship, you should double check the positive isn't a false positive. Ooh, the UTI might have given a false positive. I didn't know UTIs fucked like that, chat. That's crazy. So the top comment on this post is, so I went to the ER with a swollen testicle that was increasing in pain. The nurse was nice to me until they came back with a diagnosis that she said could only be caused by an STI. I asked which one I had, and she told me I had to wait for the results and kicked me out in disgust. My girlfriend and I had been exclusive for a year, so I had a very awkward conversation asking if she cheated on me, which she denied. Then the results came back negative. I looked up the diagnoses, and one of the causes was a vasectomy, which I told the ER I recently had. Fuck that nurse. I think the moral of this story is, chat, as much as medical professionals are supposed to be professionals, some of them are not fucking professionals. So yeah, if you're in a relationship and you get an STD diagnosis, maybe just get a second opinion or double check it if you can before you fuck some shit up in your relationship. That's crazy. The healthcare system is not perfect. My husband wants kids, but I think I want a divorce. We have a 29 female OP, 31 male husband. Posted in r/relationship advice on June 14th, 2025. My husband and I have been together for 8 years. The last 3 we've been married. Little things keep adding up, and I don't even know how to approach these issues. He wants kids soon, but I can't trust that he'd support me. I'm trying to figure out if I try to work on us or just leave. Recently, as in the last 4 years, I've been dealing with chronic health issues, but just this year alone, I've had 3 surgeries to fix various things for my health. Doesn't seem like a great time to have kids then. Our sex life hasn't been good in a few years since I got ill, maybe once or twice a month. He has told me that it's not enough and he's feeling rejected and is making his mental health worse. But if we have kids, we won't be able to have sex while I'm recovering? ? Wait, hold on. Did bro just say, if you don't have sex with me, my mental health is gonna get worse? I'm sorry, but that is the absolute fucking worst thing I've ever heard in my life. What do you mean that you having sex is directly tied to your mental health? I'm sorry, dog. That's just skill issue. If lack of having sex affects your mental health, you need grippy sock vacation. ASAP Rocky, bro. What do you mean? That is the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard. I work 5 to 6 days a week, 12-hour night shifts in healthcare. I'm the primary breadwinner in our relationship. He bounces from job to job and recently was unemployed for over a year while he was claiming to be applying to jobs. I know the job market is horrible right now, so I wasn't pushing. I found out he was lying. He hadn't applied for anything in about 6 months, including the jobs I got him recommended for through some connections I have. We got into a massive fight, and I basically told him if he didn't have a job at the end of the month, I was leaving, and he could figure out bills himself. Not even a week later, he was back working at his old job. Yeah, see, that's not a guy that should have a kid. Fucking sue me. I know it's probably a shitty thing to say, but like, my guy, if you can't hold down a job, if you can't figure out how to sustain yourself in life, how the fuck are you gonna take care of a kid properly? Bare minimum, chat. I still do all the cooking, cleaning, and household upkeep. On my days off, I spend 3 to 4 hours just putting everything in order for the week. Even when he wasn't working, he wasn't doing anything except playing video games in another room while I slept. So when I'd wake up, there would be laundry I'd have to switch, or cat litter I'd have to scoop. He wants kids soon, but with my chronic health problems, it's going to make children a really hard process on my body, lots of health risks, and I would basically have to be on bed rest the whole time and in and out of doctor appointments. I couldn't work or do anything really, and I'm just scared I won't get the support that I need. I don't even know if I want to have kids with him anymore. He gets money every month from a settlement, and he says it's enough to make up for the income I won't be bringing in if I get pregnant. The settlement payout every month is less than a fourth of what I make in 2 weeks. Okay, so he's also fucking Delulu. I feel like I'm his mother already. I feel like I'd be one of those married single mothers. I've asked him about therapy, individual or couples, and he is dismissive, saying therapy hasn't helped in the past. So I've asked about medications, but he doesn't want to take a pill every day. I don't want to come across as horrible or manipulative, but I'm about ready to write out everything I do. Bill payments, chores, time at work, etc. And have him do it all for a month and then tell me he thinks we can have kids right now. No, I actually think that fucking cooks. Because first off, he probably won't be able to do it. But if you're already married to this man, I think it's like, give him an opportunity. Not that you haven't given him opportunities to step up to the fucking plate. But probably the number one complaint that I get on this channel is people are like, oh no, like Sarby's telling them to give up on the marriage too early. Which like, I don't think in this case, she wouldn't be giving up on the marriage too early. This man is actively showing her who he actually is. I don't know if she knew he was basically a fucking bum while getting married to him. If she was, I'm kind of like, why the fuck would you get married to him? But like, this is the bed that you're in. I think it's worth it to get out of it because he is showing you who he is. And this is also just giving a guy who like, he only sees you as somebody to have sex with and to produce his offspring. I think the writing's on the table, but sure, if you aren't gonna go for the divorce, at least do what you said in those last 2 lines. Let him try to step up to the plate. I would bet the fucking house that he's not going to step up to the plate. It would honestly be kind of funny to see him crumble and fail and then try to justify it. I think OP needs to leave him. I don't know. Here's the thing, y'all. I know people criticize me on it, but I still think like there's just some shit that you shouldn't put up with. Like this just sounds like a case of like you married someone who just either they bamboozled you or when you were younger, you just didn't have the balls to figure out, is this actually somebody that I should marry? In some cases, immediately calling for a divorce is justified. I think so too. There's one in the last video. It was the one with the wife that was saying like, oh, my husband is like lazy and I do all the work just to like be cool in front of all of her friends. And then she was like talking shit about her partner. I just like don't think that's anybody that you would want to have a partner personally. Lack of sex, especially if you're married / in a relationship, can be really depressing. To me, it should only be depressing if like you're doing everything you can romantically to like get that spark going and there's nothing wrong with your partner. They just don't want to have sex with you and there's maybe like an aspect of like, oh, they don't love me anymore or like they're not attracted to me anymore. Our marriage isn't what it used to be kind of thing. I can understand that. But when your wife is having chronic health issues and has had multiple surgeries in half of a year and you're complaining about not being able to have sex enough and you're saying that affects your mental health, I'm sorry, but grow a pair. There are some things where it's like, that's a stupid thing to be depressed about. I'll say it. Like, I do think there are things in this world that it's like, that's kind of dumb for you to be depressed about that. If you're depressed because you're not having sex with your partner who's chronically ill and has had multiple surgeries in half a year, I'm sorry, dog. That's on you. That's on you. I don't know what to tell you, man. Get on some antidepressants. Once again, it just goes back to skill issue. I'm single right now. I'm not having sex consistently. Am I depressed? No. When I get horny, I don't go, oh, wee woo, I'm so sad. Just go and fucking jerk off. Like, listen, if you tie your happiness to sex, skill issue. Here's the thing. I think you can get depressed that your relationship doesn't have sex, even though you're doing all the things to initiate sex in the relationship. Because then I think it's more of like, you're more depressed about your relationship not being in a position to have sex. But in this guy's case, there's like a good reason for OP not to be having sex with him. And he's being like, oh, well, that's hurting my mental health. If you can't just like objectively be like, okay, would I prefer to be having sex right now? Yes, but I can't specifically because of this thing. Then I think that's not excusable. Okay, so there's an edit from the same day. A few things, since this is a very real story and not AI, and I'm a real person who's making choices in order to keep up with the current economy and situation. 1, I work the hours I do so I can build up my PTO and sick time for my procedures and recovery time. Yes, I have FMLA for these, but it only pays out 60% of my wages versus 100% if I use PTO. Overtime accrues PTO times 2 and pays time and a half. We also have a pickup bonus of $10 an hour. I've been working at this hospital since 2015 as a CNA and phlebotomist since 2018 and an RN since 2020. So I have seniority and that comes benefits. Yay, unions. 2, I work night shift because it has the flexibility for my schedule and they work with me for my restrictions. I am lucky enough to work in a hospital that uses lifts and is staffed as well as can be currently. Shift differential also gives me an additional $6 an hour and that quickly adds up. 3, my surgeries were laparoscopic and recovery time is about 1 to 4 weeks on average. Surgery 1 and 3 were both exploratory. My second was to remove a lesion on my intestines that connected them to my abdominal wall, as well as a cyst on my ovary, and recovery was 4 weeks with 4 more on restrictions. I'm about to have a 4th surgery to remove my gallbladder. Recovery is 1 to 2 weeks with 2 weeks of recovery. Yes, I have had a lot of surgeries this year, but I haven't had any before this unless you count upper and lower GI scopes, pelvic floor testing, gastric emptying test, x-rays, CTs, an MRI, labs, genetic testing, and HIDA scans. I mean, yeah, those aren't surgeries, but holy fuck, OP's been through the ringer. God damn. There's diet changes and medications that you have to be on for months at a time before you'd see any real changes. I also have the birth control implant, and me coming off that would involve about 3 different doctors' inputs and oversights. 4, I blocked all my husband's accounts and his friends' accounts that I know of. I plan on deleting this at some point, but I've just gotten angrier with each comment and everything I type out. At this point, I don't care if he finds this. Maybe this would be a wake-up call he needs. 5, our wedding was supposed to take place in November of 2020. That obviously didn't happen. We rescheduled to the end of 2021, so we didn't lose deposits. He quit his job about 2 months after our wedding. Okay, so maybe bro was putting up a facade a little bit. 6, people do things like meal prep for a week and find relaxation in cooking. My hospital provides scrubs. When I am home, I have more than 6 pairs of underwear, so it's not like I don't have clothes if I don't do laundry every day. I feel like she's clarifying stuff because people in the comments were just nitpicking everything that she said. Like, I don't know, I didn't see any red flags. I appreciate all the comments, but to the rude ones especially, please remember that I'm a real person. I'm sorry I have to justify every small detail of my health problems for you. Unfortunately, the knee brace girl in middle school sometimes grows up and still has health problems. This is my first time being alive and not everything is going to be perfect. I'm trying my best and sometimes people do stupid things because they love someone. Well, that ain't the truth. Okay, honestly, that edit was kind of pointless. I can't even lie. Not because of OP's fault. I think OP was getting like a lot of rude comments siding with the husband for some fucking reason and they had to justify all their shit. I mean, I don't know. I didn't see any problems with this. It sounds like somebody who works hard to make a lot of money for themselves and the person that they love and do a lot of chores to upkeep. Like, I don't know what there is to nitpick in this paragraph. Update July 16th, 2025, 2 days after the original post. I talked with my lawyer last week and the hope is papers are to be drafted and he will be formally served when he comes back from his work trip in 2 weeks. We love to hear it, chat. We love to hear it. On one of my days off, I wanted to have a discussion about our relationship and it didn't go well. I had spent the night cleaning and getting the house put together because my anxiety was so bad. When he woke up in the morning, I had breakfast made and we just made polite small talk. I started the conversation by asking him if he was happy in our relationship. I'll summarize the conversation. OP, are you happy with this? With us? I feel like we are roommates more than a married couple. OP's husband. I don't think either of us have been happy for a while. I do still love you and want to raise children with you. You'll be a great mom. I've been meaning to talk to you about something. OP. Okay, ... Chat, he's asking for an open relationship. Here it fucking comes. OP's husband. Do you remember my friends in insert city and how they were having problems in their relationship after fake name came out as Ace? How they opened their relationship so insert fake name could still get his needs met. At this point, I was just staring at him. He kept rambling on. I've joined some groups online. They said it saved their marriage. And with how much I'm traveling now for work, it would be every other 2 weeks, you know? And I'm in city name, so it's not like it would be someone you know or would ever meet. OP responded to that with, what the fuck? OP's husband. I mean, think about it. We could have a surrogate this way. I know it would be a lot, but we could make it work. You've always talked about fostering or adopting, and it would be just like that. OP, did you get someone pregnant? Is this your way of telling me you cheat on me when you travel for work? OP's husband. No, God, no. There was one girl at the bar who was flirting with me and it just felt nice to be wanted like that. Yeah, dude cheated. He then pulled out his phone and started showing me support groups he had joined online for poly people in monogamous relationships. There was probably 3 or 4 of them that he had been texting in for the last few weeks, trying to gain the confidence to talk to me about opening our relationship. He brought up how he knows I've been thinking about switching to travel contracts and I can meet people there, but then we come back home, we're together and married because we still love each other. I have nothing against people who are on poly relationships. We have friends who are and have met their partners and all go out together. It's just not for me. When I'm with someone, I want to be the only person they're with. I don't want to get tested regularly. I don't want to risk surprise pregnancy. I don't want to feel jealous or wonder if he's texting another girl while he's supposed to be spending time with me. I let him finish his speech before I told him it hasn't felt like we've been married a long time and I'm done. Hearing that he wants to see other people killed any last feelings I may have had. I'm not in love anymore and staying together isn't going to make either of us happy. We both want kids, but our timelines are different. What we want from the future is different now. I asked him to move out and he didn't seem surprised. I walked away and left him in the kitchen before I drove to my friend's house since I couldn't be there. We spent the day drinking and eating ice cream while I went from crying to laughing to screaming. She is currently going through a divorce over her ex-husband's porn addiction and the debt he put them in because of it. That's insane. She gave me her lawyer's information and I had an appointment set up with him a few days later. I went home the next day and he had moved most of his stuff out. His side of the closet is empty. His cat, the stuff in the bathroom, a few of our wedding pictures have been taken off the wall and I can't find them, so I think he took them, and his gaming setup. The house feels incredibly empty now. He travels for work, so I'm used to being in the house alone, but now my toothbrush is lonely in the cup on the sink. Our garage feels bigger now. The bed gets cold. I only have to cook for one now. I miss his presence. I miss having someone to come home to. And I won't lie, I've spent the last week crying and my heart hurts. Oh, I really hope OP has like some siblings or something like that can come visit. That's so sad. I kind of understand that. Like if you've been probably living with this person for at least 5 to 8 years, like yeah, that could get lonely. That could be kind of a big adjustment. We didn't speak for a few days after he left. His mom reached out before he did. She wanted to see how I was doing and if there was anything she could do for me. We had a great relationship and I'm honestly going to miss having her in my life. We have a lot of the same dietary restrictions, but for different reasons. And she was my food adventure buddy. We would go out for coffee or lunch to some of the few restaurants and cafes we could safely eat at. She invited me out for coffee and I went. When we met up the next day, we made small talk until the divorce came up. She let me know how he was doing. He moved into one of the houses on their property. They have like 60 acres and 4 houses on the property that different family members live in. He hasn't really gotten out of bed. She's worried about him and wants us to talk it out. She asked if I was willing to go to couples counseling and told her I've been asking that for about a year. And his response was no. I was drowning and he didn't want to help fix it, but now that I've decided to leave is when he wants to work it and I just can't. She stayed silent for a while before asking me if I still loved him. I do, but I don't. I told her I loved who he was, but I'm too full of hurt that I don't feel the love anymore. I can't keep taking care of him like he's my child. I can't keep bankrolling our lives alone. I need a partner who is able to support me, and I haven't felt supported by her son in a long time. We were both crying by the end of our talk, and she gave a really big hug before leaving. Damn, that's so sad. Such a sweet mother-in-law. I hope she's berating her son right now. He wanted to talk the next day, and he came back to the house to talk. When he came in, it was awkward. He wanted to give me a hug, and I let him. But he went in for a kiss, and I turned my head, so he kissed my cheek. We talked for a while about our relationship and how it got to this point. He apologized for a lot. He went into specifics of how he never helped around the house. He could have done more since he was home. It wasn't fair to me that he put it all on me. He told me he's looking at a new job, one where he doesn't have to travel, and it's actually in the field he got his degree in. Oh no, girl, please. Oh wait, no. She already said she's divorcing him. Okay, good. He gave me an update on his cat, who is struggling to the adjustment of the new house. I told him all of papers for him in a few weeks, and he couldn't look me in the eyes for the rest of the time he was there. I helped him pack some of the odds and ends that he left around the house, and he left again. At the appointment with the lawyer, we talked about what it would look like for the divorce process. Unless he wants the house, I plan to buy his half. If I do that, then there's a good chance I won't have to pay alimony unless he fights for it. He has the potential to make more than me, so my lawyer doesn't think I'll have to pay anyways. We don't have children unless you count fur babies, and I took a pregnancy test recently to confirm that I'm not pregnant, so that won't be a factor. We each have our own cars and pay for them ourselves. We have a joint savings, but I can prove that I've been the only one contributing for the last 2 years, so it's likely I'll get most of that. I'm not touching it besides for the bills for the house per my lawyer's advice. I will hopefully have papers for my soon-to-be ex to fill out, and if he gets a lawyer to look over. My 2 cats have been laying in bed with me and haven't left my side since he left. They're trying to make me feel better, but it's hard. My friend who is also getting divorced has said that we'll have a hot girl summer together, and it makes me laugh, but I don't think I'm ready or even close to it. I don't want to meet new people. I don't want to do first dates again. I think I'm just going to be single for a while. Also, this person still is dealing with chronic health issues and post-surgery. Like, I feel like homegirl should just focus on herself for a little bit. My mom sent me this poem after I told them about the divorce, and it makes me cry reading it. I've learned a lot from this relationship, and I'm content on being the crazy old cat lady for the foreseeable future. Okay, and the poem's called I Will Never Love the Same After You by Allie Harding. I will never love the same after you. I was always the girl that loved so hard that it hurt until it hurt. I watched you change every day until you eventually became someone I told myself I would never settle for. But how do I leave you? I told myself it was just a rough patch and we could work through this. I will do more to make you love me again because I don't give up on people. So why would I do that to you? I will put myself through hell for you. I will hate myself to love you, and I will rip myself apart so that you feel cared for. Because I was serious when I said I would die for you, because I almost did. I guess I ripped myself apart so much that I had nothing left. I cared so much about you that I stopped caring about myself completely. I lost who I was and I was no longer strong, and I watched myself change every day until I eventually became someone I told myself I'd never be. But it's my fault for not having a limit on how much I'm willing to give and for how long I'm willing to stay, and for loving you more than I loved me. Because I loved you so hard that it hurt, so I will never love the same after you. That reminds me of the discussion we were talking about, where in breakups, some people feel like, oh, I'm giving up on this person. But like I said before, don't get me wrong, there is such thing as giving up on someone, but there's sometimes a hard to recognize line of like, at a certain point, it becomes you're not giving up on them. You're giving up on getting what you're demanding from them, which is totally different. Thanks, Reddit, for the support and validating my feelings. I don't know yet if I'm going to delete this or not, but I don't think I will update this or anything else into this account again. I hope everyone stays happy and healthy. Take care. But then there is a mini update on the 21st, about 5 days after the original update. This happened earlier in the day today, and since I'm not logged out of this account yet, I figured someone else's flabbers can be gasted just like mine are. He asked for the ring back. The ring was my grandmother's. Her and my grandfather were married 52 years before he died of lung cancer when I was 2 years old. She never remarried and would always tell me how much they loved each other. I remember when I was little going and sitting with her and just playing with the ring on her finger because I've always thought how beautiful it was. It wasn't extravagant or large or crazy because my grandparents were not wealthy and got married before my grandfather was drafted. When she passed away, I was a teenager, but she willed her rings to me in hopes that I would love them forever and would find love equally to what she had with my grandfather. When my now soon-to-be ex-husband proposed, he had asked my parents, and my dad gave him my grandmother's ring because he knew I loved this ring so much. Oh my God! The audacity! That's insane! Yeah, girl, you dodged a bullet with this one. Just fucking wow. How much of a piece of shit do you have to be to ask for a ring back that you didn't even pay for? When my now soon-to-be ex-husband proposed, he had asked my parents, my dad gave him my grandmother's ring because he knew I loved this ring so much. And this man asked for the ring back since he was the one that proposed with it, so it means it's actually his. I'm sorry, but what the fuck? I haven't replied to his text about it, and I don't think I ever will. I'm just sitting here cackling all day at the audacity. As she should, bro. That is absolutely diabolical. Ask for a ring that you didn't pay for, and that is also a family heirloom? Girl, you really dodged a bullet on this. My bro was flying every red flag he possibly could have flown. Easily. Bro's collecting flags like he's collecting Pokemon. Beans time! Beans time, beans time, beans time, beans time. Beep, beep, boo, boo. No beep, beep, boo, boo back. He's like, shut up and give me my treats. All right, chat. If you guys aren't in the Discord, which you should be, a Modify wanted to give some treaties to Beans in honor of their brother. So that's what we're gonna do. I know there were a bunch of gifters and stuff today, chat. This is just a little bit of a different scenario here. Seriously, thank you guys for all the gifted subs. Bixie, Dragon, Monster Balls, Chicken Sandwich, Squidiot, K-Lava, Raichi Puff, a Modify. Thank you guys. But these ones are from a Modify's brother Nick in honor and in memory. Beans. These are from Nick. Come here. Come here, sweet boy. Yeah. All right, guys. You guys ready for the crunch? That was a good one. I wish he made those noises that cats make when they like eat, where it's like, no, 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 no. But alas, he just has his crunch. We did a good one, Mr. Beans. We did a good one. We did a good one. Oh, we have more for you. Don't worry. Ooh. I feel like that was a really good one. Ooh. All right, one more, chat. And there's like a little bit of a one that he crunched out of his mouth. I'm trying to give him, but he keeps missing it. Oh, big crunch. Oh, that's a good silly man. That's a good boy. Yay. Wow. Wow. Bro's licking his lips over here. Y'all see that shit? I don't think he likes it when I do that. I think he just wants it to like sit there. Okay, I'll let you play with it how you want to play with it. I'm sorry, Mr. Baines. He's like, you're fucking ruining it, Dad. I told the doctor my mom was lying about my symptoms. Posted in r/askdocs on June 24th, 2025. Title, I know my mom is over-exaggerating my symptoms, but I don't know what to do. Really quick, I just wanted to remind you guys I have over 160 reading Reddit videos on my YouTube channel, so if you want more of this once the video is done, feel free to dive into another video with more juicy Reddit stories. As well as if this is your second or third video, just quick reminder to hit that subscribe button. Would greatly appreciate it and would love to see you more on my channel. I'm a 15-year-old girl. I'm 5 foot and 82 pounds. I take Keppra, hydroxychloroquine, and Adderall. I live in the US. This has been going on for 5 years. I'm diagnosed with epilepsy, undifferentiated connective tissue disorder, and ADHD. My mom thinks I have POTS, EDS, and some other things. Basically, I had a seizure once when I was about 10 on a school field trip. My mom had always been really intense anytime I got sick. She took me to the doctor for every single cold, but this seizure sent her overboard. And since then, she's basically been convinced that I have some kind of serious diseases. At first, I believed her. She was good at convincing me I was feeling things or that stuff happened that I didn't remember because I was having a seizure. But the only one I know I had for sure was the one in 5th grade. And when I was at the hospital after, they didn't find an obvious cause. Since then, my mom takes me to all these appointments claiming I have symptoms I don't, or making them sound way worse than they are. Chat, this sounds like, I can't remember what it's called, but isn't there something where parents will tell their kids that they're sick because it gives them more power and control over the kid? Munchausen, thank you guys. Munchausen by proxy. That's what this sounds like. Whether she's doing it for control or not, the mom is actively doing that to the kid. For example, she'll claim I'm having fevers and that the only reason I don't have one in clinic is because I took Tylenol. It'll be true that I took Tylenol, but not because I had a fever. She just gives it to me. She'll also have me take cold medicine before cardiology appointments. Like she says, here, you're sniffly, take this. But now I'm reading the cold medicine makes your heart rate go up, and half the time, I don't even feel sniffly. It's like she'll plant things too. She'll start saying, you seem lightheaded. Your joints look swollen. You look out of focus. Like she's trying to convince me. And it used to work. But now I'm sitting here like, I feel fine. And I'm sick of all these appointments. I want to do stuff with my friends and stop taking meds that make me bitchy and sad and sick to my stomach. She'll take pictures at angles that make things look worse than they are. One time I got a bunch of bruises after playing on a water slide inflatable thing and taking a bunch of ibuprofen for joint pain. But I got a ton of bruises from it. And she told the doctor they showed up with no cause and I got a full leukemia workup. And she was telling everyone how I probably had leukemia. I didn't. I knew what it was from, but she convinced me that playing on inflatables would never cause that kind of bruising unless I was really sick. So I didn't say anything. The problem is now it's been years and I'm afraid if I say something, we're going to get in trouble. And then no doctor will ever believe me if I do get sick someday. I don't know why I didn't say something sooner. I've been pretty sure for like 2 years that she's making most of this up, but it's confusing and I don't know. I thought maybe she was right and I was just brushing things off. Sometimes it would feel like she was right. What do I do? Can I tell the doctors I see that it's probably not real? Or is this going to ruin my medical care forever? Also, I really did have a seizure when I was 10. I was at school and there was a whole cafeteria of witnesses. So that wasn't made up. I don't even know what's real at this point though. I had a high ANA, in parentheses, 1 to 160. But I don't think a lot of the other symptoms that got the connective tissue disease diagnosis were real. I'm not trying to say it's not my fault too. I should have said something sooner, but I feel stuck. Definitely not your fault. Like, this is your parent that you're trusting to have your best interest in mind, and clearly your mom has some hanky-panky weird shit going on here. Please help me figure this out. I see a cardiologist on Thursday and I want this to be over. Also, I know my BMI is low. I don't eat a lot. I'm working on it. Chat, what is a high ANA? Anti-nuclear antibody. Oh, blood test for autoimmune. Thank you guys. I appreciate y'all. I'm just wondering if Munchausen is considered abuse by social services, because I think that's the move. I really hope they take that serious, and therefore people in the comments should be telling this person, you need to reach out to a trusted adult right now. It is, but it's hard to prove because they don't trust the kids often. So my question on this too is like, would doctors be able to put this together? If a mom keeps coming in and being like, my kid is sick, and you always are doing tests on the kid, wouldn't that be a red flag for it? Like, wouldn't there be documentation of like, hey, this mom is trying to get their daughter tested for like 80 bajillion things, and now the kid is saying this is Munchausen, this is abuse? Like, is that not good enough evidence for that? It would be a red flag. It's often noted in systems, but it's not often investigated because sometimes the kid's really sick and parents are desperate for answers. That's a good point too, I guess. But I mean, if the kid is saying it, because like, I'm not extremely close with them, but I knew these gals in Minnesota who like their adoptive mom was pulling the Munchausen shit. She would tell them that they had fetal alcohol syndrome because their original birth mom was an alcoholic. Well, they were twins and drank while they were in her belly. And like them even coming to terms with it was kind of crazy. I watched the Gypsy Rose documentary and that shit was extreme. I want to watch that. Yeah, bro, it's crazy, man. Especially someone that you're just like supposed to trust no matter what. I don't know if the doctor can request to speak to a doctor alone because she's a minor. Is that a thing? I feel like I was left alone with my doctor every once in a while. Like there's got to be some things that you can be like, hey mom, I want you to leave. Yeah, no, K-Lava, I think that's so important. Like I think there are some situations where doctors definitely should not be just with the minors, but I think there needs to be like a 3-minute, like, hey, the parent's out of the room. Is there anything you want to tell me type of thing? Some of OOP's comments. To a comment explaining Munchausen by proxy syndrome and seeing if OP can go to a doc by herself. OP, I probably could go to a doctor by myself, but my mom won't let me because she says it's important to have an adult who can explain things and that she wants to make sure she knows the treatment plan. I also don't go back to school until September. Is there some way to signal to a doctor to ask me something alone or go make my mom sign papers or something? Same commenter replied to that saying, if it's possible and you can sneak away for a few minutes, you can call the doctor's office and let them know in advance that you need to speak to the doctor privately without your mother present. If it's not possible for you to sneak away and make the call, I would write a small, easily hidden note before you go and keep it in your pocket. After you're in the exam room, say that you need to use the bathroom, hand the note to literally anyone staff-wise that you encounter. Make it a point to see someone on the staff. Even if you know where the restroom is, go ask them where it is as an excuse to pass the note. It can say something simple like, please let the doctor know I need to talk to them alone and it's urgent, but I don't want my mom to be suspicious. Bro, I love this shit, man. Little things like in bars and stuff where people like have secret signals if like someone's making them uncomfortable. I think this should be like a normalized thing in a doctor's office. Like, to be honest, y'all, I might have used stuff like this, but not necessarily because my mom was like doing anything, but more because like there was some things I wanted to ask the doctor that I didn't want my mom to be present for, you know? OP replied to that saying, thank you. After I do that, what happens? Will they just tell my mom they didn't find anything and I can be done? Or are we gonna get into trouble? Is it gonna make it hard if I have an issue in the future? Same commenter replied, I can only speak as a physician in the United States. I'm not sure if you're based in the United States. But here, once you explain what's going on to your physician is required by law to report the abuse. And make no mistake, based on what you've told us here, you are being abused. An investigation will be opened and you'll have a chance to tell investigators everything. The only one who's going to get in trouble is your mother. You are a child. You are doing what your mother tells you to do, and everybody involved in the investigation will know that. You don't need to be worried about future visits. You'll be taken seriously. Your mom needs a mental health professional. She has a mental illness, and it's one that can quite literally put your life in danger. Life might absolutely suck for your family for a while, but if your mom doesn't get better, she's going to make you get worse. Reaching out to your physician on Thursday is the first step in ensuring that your mother gets the help that she needs. OOP replied to that saying, I'm in the USA. Doesn't opening an investigation always mean I won't live with my mom anymore? Or just she'll get therapy and help? Also, I think my doctors think my weight is from the illnesses they think I have, but it's not. I'm not really eating a lot, like on purpose. And I kind of want to mention it, but is this the right time? Or should I just do one thing at a time? I know I need to have more and I'm trying, but it's not going all that well. Damn. Wait, now I feel like there's a backstory to that too if the kid is not eating enough. This is a reply to a comment calling it abuse. Abuse just feels like blowing it out of proportion. I know what you mean and I know it's not right. It just feels like then I'm exaggerating. She's not hurting me, just pretending I'm hurt. Yeah, but that's such a slippery slope. Like, I really hope the commenters were telling her, like, go do research on some of the awful horror stories around Munchausen's, and you'll quickly realize this shit can escalate so fast. Another commenter said, not a doctor. She doesn't want to hurt you. She almost certainly genuinely thinks she's helping, but she has a mental illness, as the doctor above said. You need to put your health first, and since you sound concerned about her, you can support her as she gets help, and you don't have to stop loving or caring about her. OOP replied to that saying, that makes me feel better too. I don't want to see her as some kind of bad guy. I just don't want to keep getting blood draws and lying to doctors. Replying to a comment about eating less, OOP said, I'm not trying to make myself feel sick by eating less. I'm not really sure why. I just like having something else that's mine, and she doesn't have any say in what I eat. Like, I get to choose this one thing, if that makes sense. Oh shit, so it's a control thing. But then also, this mom doing all this shit is not only getting her unnecessary tests, but also is the source of her eating disorder. Oh my god, this is such a fucking shit show. To a comment with some resources. I'll look at the resources. I think they think my weight is from something else. My mom has been saying I'm having bathroom issues, and I guess I kind of am, but I think it's because of how I'm eating, not the other way around. But it's getting hard to change how I eat even when I want to now. Like with my friends, I can't relax those rules at all. Oh my god, this poor kid is just in the worst possible situation. Another commenter said, not a doctor, but a pharmacist. She is hurting you. You're currently taking hydroxychloroquine, which builds up over time in your eyes and causes blindness. We still use it in patients with serious diseases like lupus, MCTD, and UCTD because those diseases are so severe and the risk of blindness is outweighed by the risk of organ damage, joint destruction, and death if you don't treat them. Typically, we start this medication in patients who are much older than you as well to reduce how long a patient is exposed to hydroxychloroquine. You are very young, and taking this medication over time could cause serious and irreversible changes to your vision. I think this is probably like the sleeper way that in the short term, OP thinks, oh, it's harmless. My mom just thinks I'm a little bit sick. But now knowing this, girl, you got to jump on that shit. You don't want to be fucking blind. I'm not saying this to scare you or anyone else out of taking a necessary medication, but it sounds like in your case, there's a good chance it's not necessary. At the very least, you deserve to know if you really have UCTD or not. If the severity of the UCTD is to the point that you need to be on HCQ or not, and if the dose you're on is appropriate for your symptom level. You also deserve to not be blind in your 20s or 30s due to unnecessary medication use. OOP replied to that saying, I didn't know it could cause blindness. I know I started getting my eyes checked every year, but I thought it was because the disease could affect them. Damn, bro. I just feel so bad because it's so clear that this 15-year-old is just very naive and like wants to think the best of their mother, but like is actually in an extremely dangerous situation. That's so fucking sad. OOP adds, I know my mom watches my phone records, like who I call and text, so I'm not sure calling ahead is a good idea, but I think I'm going to write a note. I mean, shit, bro. Or ask one of your friends if you can borrow one of their phones, because this shit is getting scary, dog. OP adds some thoughts in a comment same day, 9 hours later. Here's something else I've been thinking about since I posted. So I looked up some of the eating issue treatment stuff, and it looks like the main kind of therapy is family-based therapy where your parents have to take over your whole diet. And that sounds horrible to me. First of all, I think my mom would maybe like it if I had a problem, and especially if it meant she got to be in charge of everything I eat and do. And that sounds like a nightmare to me. And I'm thinking maybe it's better not to say anything and wait until I'm an adult and can deal with it alone. Oh, fuck, dude. That's not the answer, but I also understand with what you're saying. It's not a good idea if the mom is in charge of your diet like that. But I absolutely would not wait until you're an adult to get an eating disorder figured out, because that eating disorder is affecting you right now and will have long-term effects. Okay, so someone asked about OOP's dad, which I was actually wondering about too. OOP replied, it's just me and my mom. My dad died when I was too little to remember. Do you think I can ask to go somewhere else to get better if it's too hard to do on my own? I really don't want her involved. I mean, my next question is, do you have any family members that you trust? Like, this is just a nightmare. To a longer advice comment, OOP replied, I get what you're saying. Thank you. I do actually like the cardiologist. He's nice and he has a good sense of humor and actually talks to me and not just my mom. So I feel like he's a good person to start with. I just kind of panicked seeing family-based therapy. Oh my God. Okay, sorry guys. I like read a little ahead, but OP clarifies they're 15 female, 5 foot tall, 80 pounds. Holy shit. I feel like the piece of information I really want to know here is, do you have trusted family members you could go live with? Because like, get over there ASAP. Or like, do you have a really good friend whose parents would take you in? Because this is just nightmare fuel, man. Like, OOP is severely in a terrible position. And it's just crazy because like, I do think like she can't solve her eating disorder problem until she figures out this mom problem, because the mom is what affects the eating disorder. Like, she literally said, I have this eating disorder because it's the only thing my mom doesn't control, which I almost wonder if maybe it would get better if the mom was out of the picture. But I mean, eating disorders don't just go away. 80 pounds is severely underweight for someone who's 5 feet tall. I just hope she's taking this advice seriously. I kind of want to just go to the update, y'all. I hope this has a happy ending. OP dropped an update July 18th, 2025, 3 weeks later. That's when they updated that they're 15 female, 5 foot, 80 pounds. I posted here once before because I knew my mom was lying about me being sicker than I was, and I wasn't sure how to handle it. I took everyone's advice and I ended up telling them at the next appointment. After we checked in, I said I had to go to the bathroom and I left a note with the nurse. I think my doctor maybe looked at it before the appointment actually, because it took a really long time for us to go back. And then in the appointment, the doctor was asking a lot more probing questions and clarifying questions and pointing out inconsistencies with what my mom said. And then he asked to talk to me by myself and my mom by herself too, actually. I mean, doctor, hell yeah. So I'm seeing a team of doctors now who wanted to verify some of the diagnoses that I had, and they admitted me to do that, like in the hospital. And there was always a nurse or someone in my room with me. You know, to be honest, after hearing her height and weight, I actually don't disagree with this. Like, I do think that height and weight is extremely concerning. I'm not 100% sure because no one actually told me this is why, but I'm guessing it was to make sure my mom didn't say or do anything or give me anything. Is that something they'd actually do? It sounds so dramatic. Or maybe it's normal to check things out in the hospital like that. I don't know. Anyway, they're changing some of my diagnoses now, and my mom is talking with a counselor. She still maintains that she's not doing anything to me, and I'm really sick and just getting influenced by crime documentaries. OP put in parentheses, adding, she caught me listening to the podcast for context. I'm guessing there's a podcast that people were recommending that she listens to about Munchausen that her mom caught her listening to. But things are a little better. She's not supposed to be in charge of any of my meds now. I do that myself, and I write down everything I take and in a journal so there's a record. And I'm not taking the hydroxychloroquine anymore. Thank you guys for telling me to say something. I was really afraid I was going to get in trouble, but no one was mad. Not even my mom, actually. They were nice about it. Maybe a little stern, but nice. I mean, that's definitely better, but something about this is just making me feel icky. Like, it seems like the mom kind of just got a slap on the wrist, and now we have a 15-year-old in charge of taking their medication. Doesn't really sound like the ED was addressed at all. I don't know if it's like a little bit more scary that the mom wasn't mad. There's no way the mom just drops this, right? I don't see that. If she's been this control freak about it, I feel like something else is gonna pop up and it's not gonna be pretty, and I don't want that, obviously. Ugh, that's so fucking scary. I'm also kind of shocked that they didn't get OP a counselor. They gave the mom a counselor, but they didn't give one to OP. Like, I feel like that's the move. Give OP a trusted adult who can make sure that the mom isn't pulling some weird shit. Because like, what this was is that OP was in this box where the mom had control of everything, and the way that she was able to even step outside the box was by posting on Reddit and getting other adults to be like, no, the box that you're living in is massively fucked up. So I hope OP keeps using this as a soundboard. Let me check this profile. No further updates on this, so you guys will have to help me keep an eye on this one. I wanted the doctors to do more, to be honest. Like, who says the mom will keep her hands to herself with the meds? Yeah, like, what if the mom tampers with the meds? I could totally see her doing that. It's scarier when they're calm all of a sudden. That's what I'm thinking, Vika. Like, the best manipulators are the ones that can keep their emotions under control. And if she's calm right now and she's just playing it off as like, ugh, just my kid listening to some podcasts, that's actually more scary. Is it possible they're investigating the mother so she's behaving now? Probably. Yeah, we'll have to keep an eye out on this one. That's fucking scary, man.